So you'll hear today a lot about great things that you could do with artificial intelligence. What we really wanted to focus on, how can we use stuff that's already there to really improve clinical practice and drive adoption of technology. So our focus is very much on how do we empower psychotherapists with quantified tools to improve their own performance as well as client treatment outcomes. So to frame the issue, mental health, the thing I want to take you away from this slide is that it's now the biggest category of healthcare spending in the US. Just on depression and anxiety alone, 86 billion is spent each year. Now, psychotherapy is the main treatment for especially depression and anxiety, but there's a lot of room for improvement on doing that. Just 25% walk away with kind of long-term improvement, quality of life. Now, coming into this hackathon, we actually did some pre-work. We conducted quite a number of extensive interviews with clinicians, undertook market and competitive analysis, as well as kind of thought out like what technical feasibility might there be for kind of accelerating some of this. And what we found is that kind of we need to find ways to solve three key problems. One is around recording and securely storing recordings of this very kind of privacy-sensitive material. Find a way for clinicians to really improve their skills through deliberate practice. And finally, find a way to really drive out valuable and relevant and objective feedback that helps them in their treatment. And this is what we focused on in the hackathons to develop technology to demonstrate that last bit.
So by applying existing technology to the area of psychotherapy, we have demonstrated how analysis of recording can provide tangible value to clinicians in 3 ways: smart recall tools, AI-based objective measures of treatment progress, and automatic transcription for efficient psychotherapy and progress notes. So let's dive into the tech. Here we have an example of an actual psychotherapy training video with the machine learning algorithms applied. Client privacy is a huge concern, so don't tell Nick Cage, but the program can provide face replacement to anonymized client recordings. This is the first example of this technology being applied to privacy in psychotherapy. It can also track the emotions conveyed by the face and the position of the body. So this video is being transcribed using natural language processing through the Google Cloud, analyzed through Luke 2015, which is a text analysis software, which can provide information like client affect. So how is this beneficial to therapists? They need an intuitive workspace to process the data, and the leftmost column contains client info, middle column with previous session info, and the last column with speech analysis for future sessions.
So how are we going to take this forward? So 3 things we're going to do. There's already some work that we've done on the total addressable market, which we estimate between $500 million to $3.2 billion per year globally, which we need to validate further. We need to test with confirmed alpha users how this MVP is going to work. And lastly, based on this video you just saw, we're actually going to publish the first academic article demonstrating anonymization to help inform research into psychotherapy. Thanks very much.
I think this is so interesting because you can use this application on all the other presentations that we just saw. Where do you get your data from?
So the data we used is a training video created by the American Psychological Association, which is used now for training trainee psychologists. Jeffrey Safran was the therapist you saw. So this is an actual patient video that's been kind of freely made available for this kind of work. So yeah. So this is actually a key thing. Like there isn't actually a lot of data to work with. So we're helping to kind of change that by making it a lot less scary to start engaging in this kind of work. Yeah, video. I mean, we can show some really. It's great video, but it doesn't come out as nicely on the PowerPoint slide right now.
As the AI guy, I love this. I think it's a great demonstration of 3 great technologies: GANs, pose detections, and the facial analysis. The only additional jump, though, is going from those to an actual mental health phenotype is actually surprisingly hard and sort of glassed over in your presentation. I think my only suggestion it would be that it might be easier to focus on using your anonymization techniques and focusing on that storage problem and the anonymization problem, since that's very easy to do, very easy to scale, It's a little more straightforward than that additional kind of mental health diagnostics or phenotyping step. But overall, really great job.
Just given that what you're trying to do is improve, I guess, the accuracy of mental health professionals, and so many of them are most of them, it seems, are in individual private practices. How do you get them to buy into this?
So actually, individual people in private practice seem to be those two who this is easiest to sell, and there's a high willingness to pay for this as it's helping them improve their work. Another alpha user that we've signed up is actually a drug addiction clinic, where there's no way of tracking any progress. So we saw some great things. Protection, for instance, suicide is something that we could do when you start implementing this this kind of technology as well. We can start doing. There's actually work done at Mount Sinai to predict relapse risk based on speech analysis. So that's the kind of stuff that requires the 99% of therapists to actually start having that data to actually analyze. If that's not there, then that's not a possibility.
Thank you very much.